Hi everyone and welcome to my channel. I figured it was about time to make a voiceover speed paint instead of just doing my quick sketches. Today I am drawing Alastor in a bit of a semi-realism style. Prints will be available in the link in bio if you're interested, and thank you very much. So today I am talking about a convention I did a few weekends ago. If you're new to my channel, I just want to say a disclaimer that I sell in Artist Alley at conventions. Obviously. But I am still very new. I've only been doing this for about a year and a half now, maybe 2. But anyways, that is not actually a long time to be in the game, and I've yet to actually meet someone newer than me at conventions. This is all to say that I am not a pro, and I know I am not a pro. I just like talking about my experiences because I like to talk. On to the con. This was a local con that popped up after COVID, replacing the one that went bankrupt during COVID. And that's a whole other story. It's got some tea to it, so maybe I'll go on that on a different video. But the first con was awesome. It was just like the one everyone in town was used to, and it had like high reviews. I went to it myself. I really liked it. It felt just like a Comic-Con. Afterwards, it went on hiatus for about 2 years until they made an announcement around, I think it was fall last year, with a date finally settled in. I figured it would be nice to give it a shot. It was local, did well the first time, so why not? The table price was around $250, which was kind of pricey for a small convention, especially for it being their second convention. It was around the same one as some bigger cons can be. Not all bigger cons, a lot of big cons run up to $500, but still. And honestly, there have been a lot of small cons that have been doing bigger prices like that, which is just so annoying and disgusting, especially for people that do this full time. There's just no other option for them to do this. They have to steal those prices. But I accepted it because it was local, which meant no hotel, so that helped the costs. That, and it was supposed to be in a pretty busy location. The con started heavily advertising in January when it was the first weekend of February. Not horrible, but not like awesome either, especially since it wasn't super well known and went on hiatus for 2 years. However, I had a con 2 weeks prior, so I was focusing more on that one instead. I wasn't fully paying attention to it, especially since the con 2 weeks prior only started advertising like a week before it, so I was more upset about that. However, I did meet the owner of this con at the prior con, and they did a little video of me, so that was kind of fun. It was interesting, at least. I didn't quite get why they were advertising at a different convention, but they had the permission, and alright, sure, go for it. 2 weeks before the con, the table numbers went out. I never got an email, which I thought was strange what went on. I assumed they were just posting it on Instagram instead. I mean, they're still new, maybe they didn't think about that. But no big deal, I figured out my table. Then a week before the con, I got a voicemail from one of the managers asking that I fill in a loading dock form. I was confused since I never got an email about that. And at the time, I had strep throat and I completely lost my voice, so I couldn't answer the phone or even leave a voicemail back. So I messaged their Instagram account, and after some back and forth, we found out my email was wrong. It was missing a letter. And I don't really blame them. It was fixed quickly, and it might have been me. I might have put in the wrong email. That's not an attack or anything. I liked the fact that they called me. I was surprised they called me. I've never had a convention call me before. Now it's con time. Driving was fine. It was downtown, so we expected it. And I don't have to drive, so it was great. The issue was when we got to the con, we noticed there were no tables actually set up. People were setting up, but there were no line of tables when you get into a convention. And so my heart started to sink. I had only seen this once before. It was at my first con. I double-checked the email that I was sent, and there was just nothing about bringing your own table. It was just loading dock procedure. I went to a con goer I knew and asked about it. Yep, you had to bring your own table. Apparently it was on the application form and an email that I did not receive because I wasn't getting the emails. However, there weren't actually any reminder emails, they said, and they almost forgot too. So that super sucked. And my heart was stopped. The absolute panic attack I had when I realized this. I didn't even have a table at home because we drive a Mini Cooper, so it's tiny. It was just, my panic was insane. I was ready to just cry. Fortunately, the staff had a table I could use and provided that and the chairs for me. So that was nice, and I super duper appreciate that. I just wish it was a little bit more obvious. And I wasn't the only one tableless, so a reminder email definitely would have been nice for people. I'm just glad it was solved without judgment. They were very nice about it, and I don't like being judged, as many people do. But also, I'm not a fan of conventions that don't provide tables and chairs. It's just kind of sucky, and I hate that. Especially since a lot of people also fly in for conventions too, you know? Like, you're not gonna fly in with a table. And especially when the price for the space was so high, like, let me have a table. But this building they were using isn't normally meant for conventions, so it might have been an issue there. And after getting things set up, I was also starting to feel anxious because I noticed there were only 3 other print artists. And yes, while that meant less competition, it normally meant less of a market. I was just happy I sold more than prints. Now, one of the problems with the convention was actually the building mentioned prior. In the first hour of the convention, I saw maybe 5 people walking around that weren't vendors. I blame a ton of this on location. On paper, the location was awesome. It was right in a little town square near a big stadium. In the town, this was the place to go to for most events. However, conventions were never really held there, and this was mostly populated by, for lack of a better term, normies, who weren't always convention goers. It also wasn't an easy place to bus to, which cut out a bunch of con goers who were younger or just without a car. So the next issue was that when I was describing this to people after the convention, I always said, you know that big yellow building that always hosts the farmer's market and craft show? I would get a yeah! And then I would go, it's the building behind that. And there weren't many signs advertising where to go. That was likely because they weren't allowed to, so I won't attack that, but it was just like so annoying. And then thirdly, probably one of the biggest issues with this location was that in this big yellow building I just mentioned, the one in the front, had a very, very popular craft show going on that was free to enter, as opposed to our convention, which cost a few dollars. Though to be honest, it was very easy to sneak in, and a lot of people did that by accident, because you just walked in through the cafe door instead, and then you were fine. And I actually went to the craft market at one point, and the attendance was insane. It consistently had a constant stream of people going in and out. Would have been nice. Throughout the day, it picked up a bit, and there were at least a handful of cosplayers too, but there was not a lot. I was fortunate enough to make double my table price, but that was solely because I had a last-minute idea for an angel dust sweater, and this was like a few days after the finale. I'm gonna do a little small promotion here, but it's a super soft sweater with Loser Baby lyrics on the front and angel dust on the back. Here's some pictures, maybe a video, I'll decide when I'm editing this. And it's still available on my website. It's super cozy, would recommend. Thank you. Okay, small promotion over. My angel dust sweater sold out on the first day, so we had to go to Michael to pick up more craft materials and stayed up late to make more from the second day. We also sold out the next day, so very happy we went to go get more stuff. We also sold out of my has-been and hell of a prints and all my hand-drawn has-been prints. Or, not prints, pins. I was just lucky that I was hyper-fixated on has-been about a week before the con and got a bunch of stuff made. I was also the only one that had anything has-been, so I'm pretty sure that helped. While saying that, I know a lot of people that weren't even able to make their table back, and that sucks. That sucks a lot. You're giving up your whole weekend to make not even what you spent. It's horrible, especially when it's not your fault, because there's not really much you can do to drive up attendance. Like maybe if your product sucked or your display sucked, then yeah, you can try and fix that while on the go, but you can't force people to come. But all in all, I did have a lot of fun. Since it was really slow, all the vendors were chatting and playing around with each other. One time I was just browsing and the vendor across from me decided we would switch places. So I sat at his booth, he sat at mine, we agreed to completely sell out of each other's stuff. Of course that didn't go as planned, but we at least tried. Not really, it was like 5 seconds we were sitting at each other's booth. But still. This was also the same guy going around asking for everyone's names and writing them in a sale book, like the Death Note, but it was for sales. I guess it worked for me since I made some. There was also a kid from another booth that kept hovering around my booth because she really liked my dumb pin of Shrek that I labeled Shirk. I decided to give it to her because it was a slow day and whatever, I don't mind giving kids small stuff. And then she kept running around yelling "Hail Shirk," so I'm glad I at least made someone's day. I was also walking around in my angel dust sweater a lot because I was bored and I was advertising it. And when someone complimented them, I would drag them right back to my booth and force them to look at it. I was that kind of person because I was bored. But this was a good networking event in the end since I got to meet a lot of people. And since it was so slow at my booth, I grabbed my little business cards with my Webtoon QR code. It's just got like a title page and like something small to grab your attention. Whoo, real designy. And then I just grabbed them and I started going up to whoever looked like my demographic, which I know I shouldn't judge people based on appearances, but conventions is a little bit better. Asking if they read Webtoon, and then I'd give it to them. At least this would be more memorable than them half-heartedly taking the card off my table. But then, in the end, with table, food, transportation, and the profit margin, our total profit was a whopping $3. And since there was 3 of us working the con, we each got $1. Good for us. It's like we lost a tooth and the tooth fairy came by. But again, I want to reiterate that we were fortunate enough to make all that back since not everyone could. Many didn't, especially artists. So I probably won't be going to the con again. At least not until they have more experience running it. I do have hope for them in the future since their first con was really good. I think they just got too ambitious with the location and they didn't really realize the downsides of having that kind of location. They did give us a discount for the next con. $250 instead of $295 they wanted to charge. I didn't go for it, obviously. Like I said, I'm hopeful they'll be better in the future, but I do not want to put my money at risk like that again. Well, thank you all for listening to my video and my little rant. I love Artist Alley and vending at cons. This did not deter me at all, so don't worry. I am so excited for the future and would love to share it with you all. Thanks again, and remember to like and subscribe for more content. Also check out my short to help me pick out my next has-been sweater design. Thank you. Bye.